Hey, good morning, everyone. I know that you are working now on your annotated bibliographies, and I would just like to give you a few tips in short video form to add to the little handout that I posted on what makes a good annotated bibliography. And for illustrated purposes, I just happened to grab a recent journal that came in called Journalism and Mass Communication Educator, and I found an article in this journal called Media Literacy in Action. What are we teaching in introductory college media study courses? So what this is actually this person, Seth Ashley, actually conducted a study to find out what is being taught in colleges, in courses on media literacy. So this was an analysis of what's being taught. And this was a quantitative type of study in which this person assessed all of the content and what types of content it was and what the focus was and so forth of these media literacy courses. Notice, like every published article, just about every published article, there's a section called Literature Review. And in the Literature Review is a discussion of the key articles and studies on media literacy and media literacy content and what's being taught. And this is how the author frames the study. So here's what we know about media literacy content, and here's what we don't know. So, the literature review, before this author does the literature review, the author collects articles on media literacy and then assesses them. That is essentially what you're doing in an annotated bibliography. So what does an good annotated bibliography look like? And I gave you 5 different things. And so you look at an article and you pick up an academic journal. Here's another one, Human Communication Research. And let's say, I'll take one of my favorite subjects, parasocial interaction and parasocial relationship. So that's the second article in this journal, Human Communication Research. And I first want to see what's the author's objectives. What is the author trying to do and trying to accomplish in this particular article? And a lot of times you can get that by simply reading the abstract of the article or the introduction. You're going to get right away, okay, this is what this author is trying to do. They're trying to look at the difference between having parasocial interaction and having a parasocial relationship with the media persona or a mediated character or so forth. And so that's the first thing that you should do when you analyze an article is what's the objective? What are the analysis? What's the objective of this study, of this article? Second, you should find out an explanation of the theoretical approach or framework used for the study. Now, sometimes you have to dig this out. In social science research, that's always very clear because they always have a theoretical framework for the study. And in this case, the theoretical framework is on the phenomenon called parasocial interaction. That is a parasocial interaction theory. It's a well-known theory. It's a one dimension of involvement in how audience members become involved with characters, whether real characters or fictional characters, in a narrative, in a television program, on a radio drama, a sports figure, a movie star, famous singer, a political figure, whatever it is. People form these parasocial relationships. So you want to know what is the theoretical approach Yeah, if there's no clear theories that are used or cited, if there are, you should mention those. If there are not, then what is the conceptual approach? Where is this author or these authors coming from in terms of conceptually, theoretically, philosophically? Where are they coming from? How are they approaching this subject? That's the second thing that you should know. Third, you should explain the methodology for the study. And if there's no methodology, there should be a methodology. If it's quantitative or qualitative research, there's got to be methodology. Even historical critical work, there should be a methodology. If there's no methodology, you're probably not finding your article in an academic journal, or at least a really good academic journal, because good academic journals, there's always present some type of methodology. So what is the author's methodology? What are they doing? Well, in this one, the methodology is a quantitative study, and they have a parasocial interaction survey that they use, or measurement scale. And then they use this measurement scale with the sample of people, and they have some very specific hypotheses that they test and some research questions that they explore. So that's what you want to put in this section. By the way, I would, if they do have research questions and hypotheses, I would make note of them in section 2 in the theoretical framework, because that really comes out of theory. And section 3 is their methodology. What is the method? Then your fourth section of analyzing an article or publication is you want to summarize the major findings. What did the author or authors find out? What do you know now that you didn't know before you read this article? What do they know now? And so there's always a findings section or a results section or a discussion section in an article. And of course, in this one on parasocial interaction, it says results. And in my this article in Mass Communication Educator on media literacy, it's titled Findings. There's a whole findings section. Here's what we found out. And what you want to do is summarize what are the major points, what are the major things the author has found out. And then finally, you want to critique it. And you can pick up critique by, first of all, looking at how do the authors critique their own work. You can do a takeoff of that, because many times the authors are critiquing their own work and saying, there are some limitations to our study and so forth. But even on top of that, you should critique it. Is this a good study? How many people did they survey in this study? How many courses did they look at? Was it enough? What do you think about the way they carried out their study? Was it good? Can it be improved in any way? Or was it just an exceptional study all the way around? Provide some critique from your own vantage point, from your own perspective, on the quality of every article that you review. That's in annotated bibliographies, usually this is the weakest point that I've observed from most students, as they provide very little and sometimes no critique. But you need to provide critique to everything that you review. So you do these 5 things on every single article that you review, whether it's 8, or you're doing 8 or 12 or however many that you do, and you'll find that just with 12 point Times Romans fonts and double spacing and normal margins, it will take you 3/4 of a page to do these 5 things, maybe even a page per article. Then when you have a bunch of articles that you reviewed like this, then they become the basis for later on writing a literature review. Make sure that you do not confuse a bibliography with a literature review. A bibliography is not a literature review, but a bibliography provides the raw materials for later on doing a literature review, because now you have your research that you're going to cite in an article or study that you're going to do later, and now your literature, you have all of the resources that you need. So this is, why do I give this assignment? But okay, this is important not only for doing academic work of any kind, academic research and writing, but for doing a doctoral dissertation. You're going to have to do this when you do your doctoral dissertation. Okay, I'm out of time. I hope this is really helpful.